Has your past year looked a little like this?
Hi everyone, happy Friday. Welcome back to another episode of ABCs for WFH. My name is Maddie, and since we're about to go on spring break, most college students will be reverting back to online education or continuing with their virtual classes, as well as the majority of us are still working remotely during this time. And since most of our time will be spent in front of a computer screen, sitting down, I thought today would be a perfect time to introduce the benefits of exercise, as well as some tips and tricks to help us stay active and healthy. As you might know, exercise has a lot of benefits for our physical health. In the field of exercise science, we like to say if exercise were a drug, it'd be malpractice not to prescribe it. Now, I could go on and on about how exercise is medicine and how important it is for both the mind and body. Some of the major benefits of exercise are a reduction in stress and anxiety, an improvement in sleep and productivity, as well as memory, and a reduced risk for cardiovascular disease, for obesity, for type 2 diabetes, as well as a reduction in blood pressure and cholesterol. The best way to stay active while we're still working from home is to schedule exercise into your daily routine. This could be planning to exercise before you start your workday in the morning, just to jumpstart your mind and body, or planning to exercise after your workday is over to unwind and de-stress. Or better yet, you can use small bouts of exercise to break up your workday. So during your regular workday, set a timer to remind yourself to get up and move every single hour for just a few minutes. This could be something as simple as walking up and down the stairs, doing about a jumping jacks, dancing to your favorite song, or following a short fitness video. Now I want to introduce just a couple of exercises that we can use while we're working from home that involves resistance bands. I purchased mine from Target, but they can be found anywhere that sells sporting equipment. I am certain that there are cheaper options at Five Below and Walmart, so go and check it out. Today I will walk you through two different sets of exercises. One will be standing and the other will be sitting in a chair. Our goal will be to complete 10 to 15 reps and complete 2 sets of each exercise. Starting with our first set of exercises, we will remain standing. I am using a low resistance band. However, you can use whichever resistance level you are comfortable with. Our first exercise we are going to do is a squat. So, taking that resistance band, placing it underneath our feet. Our hips are stacked right on top of those feet, and we're bringing both ends of the resistance band together and up to our chest. Depending on how long your resistance band is, the grip might vary. So for a squat, we're going to send those hips backwards, bending those knees, keeping the chest nice and upright, and squeezing everything at the top up again. Another exercise that we can do with this exact same form, with the resistance band underneath our feet and the ends coming together at our chest, is a deadlift and good morning. So for this one, instead of bending the knees like we did with the squat, we will be only hinging at the hips. Again, squeezing everything when we return back to this position. So for the good morning, we will be hinging at those hips, slight bend still in those knees, and squeezing everything, core, glutes, back, as we come back up. And again, coming back down and coming back up. Going into our next exercise, we have a bent over row. So taking both ends of those resistance bands into both of our hands, we're going to slightly hinge at the hips, keeping a slight bend in the knees and extending our hands down. With this bent over row, we want to make sure those elbows are staying close to our sides as we pull them back into the chest and extending back out. We should be pinching those shoulder blades together as we move our arms backwards. And for our last exercise while we're standing, it's a bent over pec fly. So same position as the bent over row, we're hinging at those hips, slight bend in the knees, and instead of extending our arms right below our view, we're going to turn them inward and have a slight bend of the elbow. After this, we will open our arms to the side and controlling it back down. We're also pinching the shoulder blades in this exercise. However, a majority of the work will be coming from the chest. And our second set of exercises, we will be sitting down in a chair. Before we get into the 4 exercises I have planned for this video, I want to discuss our posture while we're sitting. Normally when we're at a desk, our back is against the backrest. We're kind of slouched over and not really maintaining good posture. When we're doing these exercises, however, we want to make sure that we're sitting at the end of our seats, our feet are planted nice and firm on the ground, and our back is not against that backrest. We're sitting nice and tall, our shoulders are rolled back, and we have a slight lift to that chin. Sitting nice and proud. So for our first sitting exercise, we'll be going into a chest press. For this exercise, the resistance band will be wrapped around the backrest, and both ends of the resistance band will be taken into both hands. Now you can decide whether you want the resistance band tucked above the elbows or below the elbows, whichever feels most comfortable for you. I chose to go below. We're going to keep our hands at about midline of the chest, and we're going to extend both of our hands forward and then coming back, keeping that chest nice and proud as we push out and extend our arms and then come back, control all the way to that starting position. For our second exercise, we'll be going into a bicep curl. So for this exercise, our resistance band will be coming underneath our chair. Again, taking both ends of the resistance band into both of our hands. You might need to modify the length of the resistance band depending on how long yours is. I'm going to wrap mine around my hand once as well just to get a better grip. And then from here, we can either alternate or bring both arms up at once. So if we're alternating, we'll bring one up, back down, bring the other back down. Going both at the same time will add just a little bit extra resistance. So again, whichever you're comfortable with, trying to get 10 to 12 sets of this in and then repeating it for a second time. Our next exercise will be an overhead press. So keeping the resistance band in the same setup as we did with the bicep curl. Instead, we'll be going into a goalpost pose where our resistance bands are tucked behind our elbows. From here, we will extend our hands all the way up and bringing it all the way down, nice and controlled. Pushing up and then pushing it back down. And for our last exercise, we'll be going into a tricep extension. So leaving the resistance band where it is, we'll be taking both ends, bringing them together and behind our back. This one might be difficult, again, if you have a shorter resistance band and could involve you tying one end to the chair and just using a single end in order to achieve this exercise. Once we have both resistance bands behind our back, we will extend our arms straight up and slow and control back down. Remembering to still sit up nice and tall, back is away from that backrest, and feet are still planted on the ground. And that is all that I have for you today. Thank you for joining me for another episode of ABCs for WFH, and I will see you all after spring break for another episode where we will focus on the letter F.